The thought has always been that when in September 2005, Parliament amended the Constitution and removed the article which provided for term limits, it was for the benefit of President Museveni and a political gamble for the country. Aggressive movers for the restoration who have opted for a bipartisan approach now hope that by September this year, the limits will be restored and lessons learned.
It was done to provide space for an individual. It compromised value of institutions. So to restore term limits in our constitution is one way of ensuring we restore confidence in institutions.
We cannot have a system that is built around one person, and we cannot have a system that is built around the idea of no change.
In the eyes of the civil society, Uganda at 50 years is a middle-aged country that has come of age and needs to move beyond what they call narrow politics. The argument is that with no term limits, progress of major development indicators that has been stagnant for the last 10 years will remain that way, and among the many things that will suffer is an East African political federation.
This issue in Uganda is a major stumbling block to the other countries of East Africa and the citizens of those countries, and even the leadership of those countries, trusting Uganda in political terms and trusting that a political federation of East Africa can progress and be sustainable.
Members of the coalition argue that restoring term limits is not a party issue. A group of legislators are currently pushing a draft bill to restore term limits, and they have the support of these activists for whom the lack of set term limits is fodder for corruption.
There are people who have been in government, and they know that as long as the government is there are people who are connected somehow, and they've built small chiefdoms for themselves to perpetuate the greed.
They insist that without the restoration of term limits, there can be no meaningful reform. If the bill being pushed by legislators fails, there is also the view that it should be taken to the people.
If Parliament fails, of course, the masses should not fail. Whether it requires a referendum, let it be.
For the opposition, it is time for the president to plan his succession.
He should be now planning even to use his vice president, that you are the one I'm grooming for the next chair.
The concern, though, is that important issues of national interest are more often than not seen through a partisan political lens. Josephine Karunji.